Okay, good morning. And yesterday I did some demonstrations on the saxophone of all the major scales, and I'm going to show you today why you only need to know one. Actually, you just need to remember the intervals. Okay, so what is a major scale? A major scale, if we're just going to keep it simple right now, if we played only white keys from C to C is a major scale. But what makes it major? It's major because of the intervals. That means the distance between the notes. So if I look between here, C and D, okay, I see there's a black key. This black key is C sharp or D flat. So there is a half step to C sharp and another half step to D. So between C and D, a half plus a half equals a whole. So there's a whole step. Okay, let's go from D to E. Okay, I have a key here. This is D sharp or E flat. That's a half step. And then I got to go all the way over to the E. That's another half step. So that's another whole step. So I have whole, whole. Now between E and F, there is no black key. So this is a half step. So I have between E and F is a half step. So C to D is a whole, D to E is a whole, E to F is a half step. Okay, let's continue our process here. I got to go F to G, but there's a black key. So I got to go up a half, up another half. Half and a half is a whole. So between F and G is a whole step. G to A, I have a half step here, G sharp, A flat, and another half step between G sharp, A flat to the A. So I have another whole step. Okay. If I go from A to B, I have another black key. That's another half step plus another half step. That makes it a whole step. So A to B is a whole step. And then my last one, there's no black key here. So this is a half step. So my pattern is whole, C to D is a whole, D to E is a whole, E to F is a half, F to G is a whole, G to A is a whole, A to B is a whole, B to C is a half step. So if I just want to remember, it's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. All right, so what does that look like? So I'm going to use my little finale here. So I'm going to be in the key of C, no sharps, no flats. So I'm just going to draw it out here. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All right. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now, what I was doing with my way I memorize them on saxophone is that I memorize these interval relationships. Okay. Now, it's really easy when you have a keyboard to visualize it. But for wind instruments or string instruments or whatever other instruments you play, you don't have that visual in front of you. So you really got to use your ears and just know the difference. Once you know the difference between a whole and a half step, nothing can stop you. All right. So, but you say, well, how does that translate into a other scales? Well, the pattern still continues. So I was going up chromatically. So let's go up chromatically. So I'm going to use just accidentals here. I'll turn on my flats or C sharp. Let's do C sharp. Okay. So I'm going to go up a half step. Okay. So I'm going to go from C to C sharp. All right. Let's look at our handy thing. So I'm starting here. Here's C sharp. Okay. I'm going to go up a whole step. So I go half, half. What note is this? So this is a whole step between C sharp and D sharp. Okay, so C sharp to D sharp. Okay? Going up a whole step from D sharp. Got to go up a half step. Here's E. Up to another half step is F. Okay? Now we're going to run into a little bit of an issue here, theory-wise, because it's not going to be an F natural, it's going to be an E sharp. And the reason why is in the music theory world, pitches of different scales do not like to share lines or spaces. Okay? Because I could put F natural here, but what's my next note going up? Okay? What's the next one going up? So I'm on an E sharp or an F. So I have a whole, half. Remember our pattern is whole, half, whole, half. Okay, so I got a whole, half to F sharp. Okay, well, if it's F sharp, I can't have F on the same line. Okay, because technically I could do this. Let's just say for fun, I could do this. Put the F sharp there. Okay, I could do that, but that looks weird. And the F and the F sharp, while you're not looking, are going to have a fight over who gets to be on that line. So to solve the problem, that's why we have the enharmonic notes, such as E sharp and F sharp. So they can be right next to each other on the keyboard, but they are right next to each other on the line, and they're not on the lines and spaces, and they're not going to fight each other. All right. So I have C sharp. So I have a whole, half, whole. Okay, so that's going to be G sharp. G sharp. Okay, go back over here. So whole, half, whole. This is where we were. Whole. Okay, it's going to be A sharp, not B flat, because we are dealing in the sharp keys. Okay, because technically, all right, if I was going to say this is correct, okay, it sounds correct by my ear. If somebody were to say, haha, I'm playing a B flat instead of an A sharp, you would never notice the difference. Okay? But if you're playing a scale, this looks really weird. And then again, you're going to have a leading tone coming up where you would need to have a, what is it? Okay, you would need to have this, and that would look really weird. So that's why you have different enharmonic spellings. Okay, so we're going to change that to A sharp. Okay. And so I have whole, D sharp, whole, E sharp, half, F sharp, whole, G sharp, whole, A sharp, whole. Okay. This is not C. Okay. I can't have C because C sharp is already taking up that space. Okay. I mean, technically, I could do this. Okay. Oh, sorry. Need to make that a natural. I could do this. But that looks, well, it should turn into a natural, but it's not. But it looks weird, and then you would end up having to have this next to it. So that just looks really weird. Again, if somebody was playing it, you wouldn't notice the difference, but visually, it's actually easier to read this. So I'm going to get rid of that. So we're instead of C natural, we have our enharmonic B sharp and our C sharp. All right, so we have C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, C sharp. All right, let's look at his or hers enharmonic brother. All right. Okay. Same scale, but we're going to spell it with flats. So C sharp could also be D flat. And the reason we're saying we're going to stick with flats this time because for theoretical reasons or just the rules and ease of reading, we don't want to mix them around. It's harder to read, and then also remember, each pitch on the scale likes to have its own liner space. So D sharp becomes E flat, E sharp becomes natural, F natural, G sharp becomes G flat, where am I? G sharp becomes A flat, A sharp becomes B flat, B sharp reverts back to C natural, and finally you have D flat. There you go. Okay, so these two scales here, C sharp major and D flat major, they're going to sound exactly the same. If somebody was playing both, you wouldn't know the difference, but reading them, there's a big difference. Okay, I'm just going to do a little sort of thought experiment here because some people just, what would you rather read? Would you rather read, well, me, I'd rather read the D flat just because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flats rather than 7 sharps because that's just scary looking. But if I'm going to mix it up, let's just say let's have D flat, and then this is be sort of horrific, but if I was going to mix it up, so D, so then F, and then F sharp. Man, I really have to think when I'm doing this. Okay. And then A flat. I'm doing this intentionally wrong to demonstrate a point. A flat, and then I want A sharp. And then I want C natural. And then C sharp. Ugh. Okay. So these three scales right here, C sharp, D flat, and this monstrosity here, they will all sound the same, but which would you rather read? And this is why we have enharmonic tones. Okay? Because that's just horrific, and if somebody gave that to me in a piece of music, I just like, no, I'm not playing that. Go fix it. Okay? So we're back. Let's get back to our major scales. So that's your reason why we have enharmonics. All right. So we have C, C sharp, and C sharp's buddy D flat. Next one we have is D. Okay. Oops. Go back to my little eighth notes here. All right. So let's start on D. So I'm going to go up a whole step. D to E is a whole step because I have this guy, this black key here. So I go half, half, whole step. So D to E. Okay, I'm going to stick on the keyboard for right now. Go up a whole step. Remember our pattern? Say it. Whole, half, whole, half. Okay, so I got a whole step. I got to go up a half, whole. So F sharp. I go up a half step to G. So I got D to E, whole step. E to F sharp, whole step. I need a half step. I'm going to jump to G. I need a whole step. Going to A, need a whole step. Going to B, need another whole step. C sharp, need a half step to D. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And the other reason why I'm doing this is because I found this method, at least for me, to be more helpful, remembering one set of intervals than 12 key signatures. All right. Yes, I do know my 12 key signatures, but when I'm playing, I don't want to be thinking about them. Because you have enough to do when you're playing. And once you've got them, once you've, intellectualized it and got it stuck in your head, your fingers will follow. So eventually you'll get to the point that your scales as you're playing them are just muscle memory. All right. So let's just do a little quick comparison between C and D. So I have a whole, half, whole, half. Do I have whole, half, whole, half here? C to D, whole step. E to F sharp, whole step. F sharp to G, half step. G to A, whole step. A to B, whole step. B to C sharp, whole step. C sharp to D, whole step. Boom. All right. So what's our next one? We're going to go to E flat. Okay? Now people might say D sharp. I will do the D sharp major scale to show you why we don't use it. All right. But here we go. So we start on E flat. So here we go. E flat, need a whole step. Gotta go up 1, 2. F. Whole step. 1 half step, whole step. G. Half step. A flat. Whole step. Half step there. Boom. B flat. Whole step. Half step to C. Boom. Whole step. Whole step. Got this half one here. So half is a whole. D, E flat. So E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. All right. So let's draw that out. Anyway, let's put on my flats here. And then I will show you the reason why we do not use the key of D sharp. It's the same reason why we don't mix sharps and flats, because it's an absolute monstrosity. You're going to end up having to have double sharps and all sorts of other things that are just really, really hard to read. And C, D, E flat. Bonk. There we go. There's your E flat major scale. Okay. And let me just play with this, see if I can remember how to do it. Make a C. Okay, so we'll create his enharmonic brother. And I wonder if I can. Yep, okay. That's scary. All right, D sharp. Okay, so I had to remember how to do that in finale here. Okay, so we're going to start out with D sharp. D sharp. Honestly, I'd rather think of E flat than D sharp. Okay, so I need an F, but remember I can't go to F. I have to go to the next line. So I need E sharp. I need a G, but what do I have to use? I have to use this little half note tone here. Ugh. Gross. Okay. But this is why we do not use the key of D sharp. And so I have, put on the sharp. Okay. A flat becomes G sharp. B flat becomes A sharp. C becomes B sharp. D becomes C double sharp. Ugh. Nobody wants to read this. And then you end up with a G sharp. Which would you rather read, this one or this one? That's why we don't play with these enharmonic keys that require double sharps and double flats and whatnot. So that's why you don't have the key of D sharp major. Well, technically it exists. Again, if I played them side by side, you wouldn't know the difference. But what would you rather read? All right, moving up. Let's see. We're going to go to E. E. Right? So I'm going to follow my same pattern. Okay? E, I got to go up a whole step. So I go up half, half. So F sharp. Go up another whole step. G, G sharp. So E, F, G sharp. Got to go up a half step to A. And then A, whole step to B. Another whole step. Go half, half. There's a whole step. C sharp. Go up a half step. Sorry, go up a whole step. My bad. Whole step to D sharp. And up a half step to E. So I end up with E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. All right, so let's draw that out. E, and let's put on my little Sharpie here. F, G, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and then E. So I'm still having my same intervals. All these are the same intervals. If you think of it as the same concept, but just starting on a different note. Okay? When I'm playing them, I'm thinking of the intervals. I am thinking of the note, but I'm not trying to do this without reading it. Okay? Because for me, at least for my brain, it's easier to know the feeling and the sounds of them than it is trying to remember the visual of what they are. Because I would rather remember the intervals than remember this any day. Try to memorize that. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to go up another half step to the key of F. Let's start off with F. So I have my F here. F, I'm going to go up a whole step. So there's a half, whole, G. Another whole step, half, whole, A. Half step, B flat. Okay, it's not A sharp because A already has its own space. Okay, go up a whole step, B, C, B flat to C. Okay, that's a whole step. Go up a whole step, C to D is a whole step, D to E is a whole step because we have these black keys in between them. Okay, and then I'm going to end with a half step to F. Okay, so it goes F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. So F, G, A. Can't have A sharp because B flat, because A and A sharp will have a fight, and nobody wants to read that anyway. C, D, E, F. All right. Okay. So just again, people sometimes say, well, why can't it be E sharp? Well, this is why we don't have an E sharp scale. Technically, if you were to listen to them, you wouldn't know the difference, but I'm going to show you why we don't write it. So, E sharp, I would need to have a G. Ugh, so right away. That's just gross. I don't want to play that. But here we go. And I would need a F, G, A, B flat, C. Need to have, D. So what would you rather read? This one, F, with one flat, or this monstrosity? That's why we don't have it. Okay. Ugh, that's scary looking. I don't want to play that. Ugh. Ah. Goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. All right. All right. Now we'll get to one tail scale that no matter how you play it or write it, it's hideous just because it has so many sharps or flats, no matter way you deal with it. And that is the F sharp scale. So we'll do F sharp. Now the nice thing is it's mostly black keys. Okay, so we started in here. We have F sharp, G sharp, because we go half, whole. There's a couple whole step. Need another whole step. Whole, A sharp to B. That's our half step. To B natural. So whole, half. So F, G sharp, A sharp, B. Need a whole step. Jump to C sharp. Need another whole step. D sharp. Need another whole step. This is where your E sharp comes in because remember, you started on F sharp and you can't have F natural because F sharp and F natural are going to have a fight if they're on the same one. And nobody wants to look at that. So I have E sharp, F sharp. So F sharp scale is F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, and F sharp. So let's draw that out. So I started with F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. Turn my sharp off here. B. Turn my sharps back on. D sharp, E sharp, F sharp. Okay. And that one's kind of scary looking. And it's not a really fun key to play in. Fortunately for saxophones, we don't play in sharp keys very often, even in concert pitches, so we don't have to see it. It's just a good one to know in case you do come across it. But yeah, I don't know anybody who wants to play in this key. So let's draw his enharmonic brother from another mother. Okay, so we start with F sharp. We can change F sharp to G flat. We turn G sharp into A flat. We turn A sharp into B flat. Oh, now I have a B. I need to have a B natural. Well, I can't have the same line. B flat and B. They can't be on the same line. So I'm going to have to spell him as, yes, C flat. Okay. C sharp becomes D flat. D sharp becomes E flat. E sharp can now be F, because now they're not on the same line. And back to G flat. So G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F natural, and G flat. So let's go draw them here. Okay. And the reason why I'm walking you through all these is because conceptually they are the same scale. Okay. If you notice, they all have the same pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. They just look different because in Western notation, that's how we represent it. Okay, so I'm turning F sharp into G flat, G sharp into A flat, B sharp into B flat, B natural into C flat, C sharp into D flat, D sharp into E flat, and this is the only one that's going to be normal, F, and back to G flat. Okay. This one, it's pick your poison when trying to remember. This is why I say remember the intervals, don't remember the notes, because I'd rather not try to memorize the look. I'd rather memorize the feeling of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half that just happens to start on F sharp or A flat. All right, let's go to G. Good old G major. Okay. And if you're an alto saxophone, this is your B flat concert. If you're a tenor saxophone, this is your F concert. Right? So we have G, go up a whole step, go half, whole to A, half, whole to B, half to C, half, whole to D, half, whole to E, half, whole to F sharp, and half step to G. So I have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And let's go over here, draw it. So you have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. What a difference a half step makes. What would you rather play, this one or this one? Ugh. Yeah, give me G major any day. Okay. Next one is A flat. Okay. So I'm going up half steps here. So I have A flat, need a half step, whole step, B flat, half step, whole step, C, go up a half step, D flat, half step, E flat, go half step, F natural, half step, G, A flat. So A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. So I'm going to spool my little flat thingy over here. Here we go. Then we have A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, and A flat. All right. Okay. So whole, half, whole, half. Okay. Now I know somebody out there is saying, why can't it be G sharp? This is why it can't be G sharp, or why it should never be G sharp. So let's spell it enharmonically. G sharp, A sharp. Okay, I need a B sharp, which already disqualifies it, because nobody wants to play B sharp, because it's just annoying. G sharp, A flat, okay, and I need an F sharp. Now I'm going to need an F double sharp to get to the same pitch as, and then I need A sharp. There. So what would you rather play? A flat with 4 flats or this monstrosity? Okay. That's just, I don't even want to look at that. Goodbye. Goodbye. Okay. Moving up to A major. We're almost there. We're getting close to the end. So I have A, go up a half step, whole step to B, half step, whole step to C sharp, half step to D, whole step to E, half, whole step to F sharp, half, whole step to G sharp, whole. I'm sorry, excuse me, half step between G sharp and F, or between G sharp and A. So I have A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. There you go. What does it look like? Okay. So when I'm playing these, I'm not thinking so much of the key signature as the intervals. Okay. Now I'll give you a quick saxophone tip on here. If you're playing anything that has lots of A flats or lots of G sharps, just keep your left hand pinky down and you will always be right. Unless unless there's a change, or there's a G natural or A natural or something. You can just keep that key down, and it'll come out every time. And also, if you keep it down on the C sharp key on your left pinky, that way, if you have to go below the staff, you're going to hit that C sharp, because for some reason, I always forget when I'm playing in when I have a C sharp that it's still a C sharp even below the staff. It's just because it's not a note we play very often. But it exists. But if you keep your pinky down, you don't have to ring it. It's already done for you. And especially when you're playing your A major scale, just keep that pinky down. There you go. So A. So I have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? If I go through any of these scales, I can go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. All right? It's the same scale. All right, B flat. Okay? So, especially if you're a flute, this is or a C instrument, this is your sort of your home band key, concert B flat. Saxophones, we don't, well, if you're in a beginning band and stuff, you're not going to be using that because it's a concert D flat, okay? And nobody wants to play in that key. So we don't usually use it very often. Tenor, yeah, you'll come across keys. That's an A flat concert for you. You'll use it, but altos, especially beginning music, nah, you're not going to see it as a written key. It exists. That's why we're doing this, though. So B flat. I want to go to half step, whole step, C, half step, whole step to D, half step to E flat, half step, whole step to F, half step, whole step to G, half step, whole step to A natural, and then half step to B flat. So B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. So we go to B flat, and we're going to draw it right here. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. There you go. Okay? Now I know somebody's out there. Why isn't it A sharp? I'm going to show you why it's not A sharp. Why A sharp technically exists, but nobody wants to read it. A sharp. So B flat becomes A sharp. C natural becomes B sharp, which automatically disqualifies you because nobody wants to read that note. Okay? I need a C double sharp to get to... Where am I? Oh, there we go. I need to have a C double sharp. To make it a D. I need an E flat. Becomes D sharp. F becomes E sharp. G becomes G double sharp. Gross. A becomes A double sharp. Okay, so which would you rather read? This one or this one? This one or this one? It's like your eye exam. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Yeah. Nobody wants to see this monstrosity. Say goodbye to the monstrosity. Goodbye, monstrosity. All right. We're up to B major. Okay, so B natural. Starting on B, going to go up a half whole step to C sharp, half whole step to D sharp, half step to E, half whole step to F sharp, half whole step to G sharp, half whole step to A sharp, and half step to B. So I have B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. And we will get to his enharmonic of C flat here in a second. But let's draw So we have B. Oops. Boop. There we go. And C sharp. And D sharp. And E natural. F sharp. G sharp. A sharp. B. Now the challenge on saxophone, especially if you're using the whole range, starting on the low B, you have to roll between the B sharp and the C sharp. So you're gonna have to practice that to get that transition really good. But again, like most of your sharp or flat keys, since you're gonna have lots of G sharps and C sharps, you can just keep that pinky down, so you'll make sure that it's the same. It just stays there and you don't have to think about it. Okay, so B sharp. So I have a whole step, B natural. I have to go from B to C sharp, that's a whole step. C sharp to D sharp, whole step. D sharp to E, half step. E to F sharp, whole step. F sharp to G sharp, whole step. G sharp to A sharp, whole step. B sharp to B, half step. So it's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So remember, even though these all look different, conceptually they are the same. This is just how they show it on different pitches. All right, let's do his or hers enharmonic. Okay, so the enharmonic of B is going to be C flat. And yes, C flat does exist. Obviously it exists as a pitch, but I can't think of anything I've ever seen other than some weird etude that actually uses it. Okay, so C flat. Okay, I'm going to up a whole step. So half whole, D flat, half whole, E flat, half, F flat. Okay, because we're going to go up a whole step too. So whole, whole, half. It's going to be F flat because I'm going to have G flat on the next note. Okay, so I got whole, whole, half, F flat, G, F, whole, G flat, half, whole, A flat, half, whole, B flat, C flat. That's my half. So C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, back to C flat. Here we go. Okay. C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat. I don't know about you. I prefer to read this one than this one any day. But remember, I'm thinking of the intervals. Okay, I would say, let me go through. So for saxophone, yeah, that's a slam dunk. Saxophone, when I'm thinking of keys, I will think in D flat. When I'm playing scales, D, E flat, E, F. I tend to think in F sharp instead of G flat when I'm playing scales. G, A flat, A, B flat, and B natural in scales. All right, and then if I come all the way back to where we started, we end up with a C scale, which we already did. Let's just up an octave now. E, F, G, A, B, C. There you go. All right, so those are your major scales. So if you just remember the intervals, you can do all of them. Now, some people say, well, what about the key signatures? Well, the key signatures are really good, except, okay, they don't explicitly show the relationships between the notes. Okay, so yes, I could do Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Where's my key signature tool? Where are you? One of these. Okay. So C, and if I wanted to do, let's just go back to this and go to transpose. I'm going to go down an octave. Okay. All right. Okay. So I could do this. I'm going to change my key signature. And I'm going to change it to there we go. Boom. Okay, and I can copy this. Copy this one up here. And put him in there. Oops, undo. Come on, let me do it. Why are you putting him to the left? All right, fine. We'll just do it this way. Okay. These tails look similar, and they're different because of the key signature. But this one up here shows you the relationships. Okay. Key signatures are so the composers don't have to write 18,000 accidentals when they're in a different key. It's a time-saving thing. This shows you the relationships, whereas this doesn't. Okay. I could also do, let's see, go to my key signature tool here, and I'm going to change this one to, let's go to D flat. Okay. And I could do this. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. D flat, E flat, F. Okay, so I'm not having to write in all the accidentals because the key signature does it for me. But it's not showing me the relationships. I can see them easier when I write out the accidentals than when I have a key signature. So remember, the key signature is a device to keep you from having to write in all the flats and all the sharps, so you don't have to remember it while you're composing. But while you're thinking of scales, I like to think of the intervals and to visualize the intervals. That's why I wrote them all out. Okay, well, that is your video for the day. I hope this helps understanding the intervals. So remember whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, because we're going to get into modes next. And once you know all the intervals, then you can do your modes. Okay? That's coming up next. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.